Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In today's episode, we will learn about the 5 consecutive punishments upon the followers of Pharaoh. When the holy staff of Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam turned into a serpent and swallowed the snakes of the magicians, then the magicians fell prostrate and embraced the true faith. But Pharaoh and his followers still did not embrace the true faith. Instead, Pharaoh's unbelief and transgression increased even more, and he strove even harder to torture the believers of the Bani Israel and Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam. Pharaoh used different means to tyrannize them. Annoyed with the cruel conduct of Pharaoh, Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam supplicated in the court of Allah in this way: "O my Rabb, Pharaoh has crossed the limits and his people broke their promises. Therefore make them suffer from such torments that they deserve. Therefore it may become a lesson of admonition for my people and future generations." After the supplication of Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam, Allah sent down 5 consecutive torments on the people of Pharaoh. These 5 torments are as follows. Storm. All of a sudden, a cloud hovered and the darkness fell everywhere. Then it started to rain so heavily that the water entered in the homes of the people of Pharaoh. They were flooded with the rainwater, and water level rose up to their necks. Those who sat down drowned and killed. They were not able to get rid of it. The waves of the flood destroyed their fields and gardens. They suffered this torment for 1 week. Though the homes of the Bani Israel were adjacent to that of the followers of Pharaoh, the water did not enter the homes of the Bani Israel, and they kept living in their homes without any discomfort. When Pharaoh's followers could no longer tolerate the torment and became helpless, they came to Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam and requested him to pray for them so that the calamity is withdrawn. They also committed that they would embrace faith and send the Bani Israel to him. Thus Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam supplicated, and the torment of the rainstorm was withdrawn. The earth yielded such good crop that was never happened before. Crops flourish excessively, fruits and grains grow exponentially. Seeing this, the Pharaoh followers commented that the storm was a great blessing unto them. Then again they deviated from their commitment and did not embrace the faith. Once again they resumed their barbaric and sinful practices. Locust. The Pharaoh people lived undisturbed for 1 month, but then once again Allah inflicted them with the torment in the form of locusts. The swarms of locusts emerged from all nooks and corners, which ate all their crops and gardens. They even ate the wood of their homes. The home of Pharaoh followers were full with locusts, and it made their life miserable. But the field and gardens of the believers of the Bani Israel remained safe from the invasion of these locusts. Upon seeing this, Pharaoh's followers learned a great lesson, and after getting exhausted by the punishment, they again reached Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam and promised him that if he supplicated for the withdrawal of the torment, they would surely embrace the true faith and will not torture the Bani Israel. Therefore, on the 7th day, the torment was withdrawn from them by virtue of the supplication of Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam. Again these people lived undisturbed for a month. Once again these people broke their promises and did not embrace the true faith. Their practices of unbelief and sins commenced again. They started torturing Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam and the believers and said that the residual vegetations are sufficient for them. Therefore they will not embrace the faith, renouncing their parental religion. Weevil. After 1 month, another torment was inflicted upon them in the form of weevils. Some scholars said that those weevils clung into their cash crops and fruits and ate away all their food reserves. Some interpreters are of the opinion that it was a tiny vermin that eroded the ripened crops and also went under their dresses and started bruising and biting their skins, and this relentless stinging to their bodies made them convulsive like a slaughtered rooster. Their conditions worsened so much that these vermin bruised and scratched the hairs of their heads, beards, mustaches, eyebrows, and eyelashes, and they had an appearance as that of a smallpox victim. These vermin also affected their food, water, utensils, and due to the presence of these insects, the Pharaoh's followers were unable to eat and drink and were unable to have even a nap for a moment. This torment continued for 1 week and made them very miserable. These people were compelled to howl, and once again they contacted Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam and requested him to pray for their relief and assured that they will accept the faith. Feeling pity on their state of anxiety, Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam supplicated for them. Consequently, the torment was shunned away. As per their habit, these insolent followers of Pharaoh once again broke their promise and once again started their acts of persecutions and cruelties with a new vigor and more intensity. After 1 month, another torment struck them in the form of frogs. Frogs. All of a sudden, an abrupt and haphazard breeding of uncountable frogs in the homes of the people of Pharaoh erupted. Wheresoever these people would sit, their gatherings would be occupied by thousands of frogs. If anyone would open his mouth for talking or eating, frogs would jump and go into his mouth. The frogs would fill up their cooking utensils and would sit over their body in hundreds. They were getting no relief from these frogs while walking, sitting, and sleeping. The people of Pharaoh were crying desperately due to the torment, and again they contacted Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam and begged him to supplicate for them, and they took oath and promised that they would surely embrace the faith and would never trouble the believers in the future. Therefore, on the 7th day, by virtue of supplication of Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam, this torment was also withdrawn. But these cursed people engaged in their devilish activities upon getting relief once again. They started torturing the believers and disrespecting Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam once again. They were struck by torment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this time the torment was in the form of blood. All of a sudden, the water of all the wells and rivers turned into blood, and the people of Pharaoh complained Pharaoh about it. Their crockery and kitchenware are filled with the blood, while that of the believers remained unaffected. Then Pharaoh ordered them to draw out water with the believers from the same bucket, but it was a strange and miraculous manifestation of the power of Allah that when believers drew out water, it was crystal clear, pure, and sweet. On the contrary, when the followers of Pharaoh drew out the water with the same bucket, it was pure blood. When the severe thirst struck the people of Pharaoh, they came to the believers and said that they would drink water with them in the same pot and at the same time. But there was again a strange and wonderful manifestation of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that in the same pot at the same time, when the believers and the unbelievers would collectively drink water, at the side of the believers there was a crystal clear water, but on the side of the unbelievers the water would turn into blood whilst entering the mouth of the Pharaoh followers. In the state of utter helplessness, the Pharaoh and his people quenched their thirst by chewing grass and extracting water from it. But even the liquid that was extracted from it would turn into blood when it would enter their mouth. Exhausted by that miserable condition, the people of Pharaoh once again requested Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam for the withdrawal of the torment. Due to prophetic kindness and compassion, Sayyiduna Musa alayhi salam again prayed for them. Thus on the 7th day, the torment of that curse of blood was withdrawn from them. There were 5 consecutive torments that struck the people of Pharaoh, and every torment was withdrawn on the 7th day. There was a gap of 1 month between every 2 torments, but the hearts of these tyrants and transgressors were so sternly sealed, and they were wretched to such an extent that they did not embrace the faith. They remained stuck with their unbelief, and every time they broke their promises. Finally, an ultimate torment struck them. Pharaoh and his people were drowned and destroyed in the river Nile. Thus the world was completely purified from the evil presence of those damned people. No signs of their existence were left on the face of the earth, and even no sign of their graves was left. The Holy Quran has mentioned above 5 torments in the following words. Then we sent upon the flood, and the locust, and the pest or lice, and the frogs, and the blood. Distinct signs. In response, they became arrogant and were sinful people. And whenever the punishment came upon them, they said, O Musa, pray to your Lord for us by means of his covenant which is with you. Indeed, if you lift the punishment from us, we will surely believe in you and let the children of Israel go with you. Consequently, when we lifted the punishment from them for a period to which they must reach, they used to then turn away. We therefore took revenge from them. So we drowned them in the river because they used to deny our signs and were careless about them.